and welcome to the oddest little podcast on the internet. We are the Odd Pod. What's going on? My name's Stacey Kruger. Who the hell are you boys?
My name is Casually Challenged, and I have opinion.
You don't say.
My name is Rad. I'm not a boy, I'm a man.
Oh, God, put it away, Rad. You didn't have to prove it.
My name's Robbie, and after like 3 weeks, I'm back.
Welcome back, by the way. We've actually missed you a lot. I didn't know what to do. I got scared. I piddled in the corner.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get massive fucking tooth pain.
Yeah, you kind of, the tooth fairy was not nice to you. She's like, fuck you, give it to me.
Yeah.
I'm
Fun
Ryan.
time.
Don't touch me.
I'm not touching
Don't
you.
touch me. Mom!
I'm not touching you.
Where did the bad man touch you, Ryan?
Show me on the doll where the bad man touched you. God damn it. So how's it going, guys? It's good to have you all back. I've missed all of your beautiful faces. What you been up to?
Work like hell.
Work, and more work, pretty much?
Yeah. Out of like half of our employees are off for like 2 weeks, so we're short-staffed, and it's a period where there's a lot of traffic. So that's always been that's a fun time.
No kidding, huh? So you just can't catch a break either fucking way, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like yesterday was non-stop, and the kids are off now, so that's fun. Whiny little kid bitches wanting video games.
Listen here, you little bastards.
Damn those little kids.
Like I know here in the U.S. it's Memorial Day today. No, tomorrow. Excuse me, tomorrow. And, well, we have to deal with the idiots ourselves. Casual, I know you wanted to bring something in with this.
Well, I mean, it's Memorial Day, which is technically about remembering, in America, it's about remembering, those that have given their lives defending the country, possibly getting involved in things that they didn't really have a choice getting involved in, but whatever the case, there's been a lot of, let's call them nerdy people, at least nerdy from the perspective of us geeks and nerds that like nerdy stuff, who have died recently. So, thought we'd start this podcast off on a downer.
What other better way to start it than on a downer, of course?
For instance, and it hasn't been like in this week all these people died. It's probably been, I don't know, a month or two that over the course that some of these people have died, and we didn't mention them because we're assholes and we couldn't find a place to do it. And I know Vern Troyer.
We touched on him a tiny bit, didn't we?
No. I think we talked about it off podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mini-Me.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everybody remembers him. He did other stuff, but for geek culture, he was Mini.
Yeah.
Margot Kidder, she was pretty much, in my opinion, the most memorable Lois Lane.
Now
she was the one.
Everyone's gonna hate me because I have no idea who the hell she was until you said Lois Lane. I'm like, oh, which one?
Yeah, she was in the original 4 movies, Lois Lane.
Okay.
The ones with Christopher Reeves.
Yep.
Is it Reeves? It doesn't matter. Let's see who else. John Bain. Very recently passed away. He lost his battle with cancer. If you don't know who John Bain is, Total Biscuit. He was a game reviewer on YouTube.
Yeah, he was like 33 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're younger than me.
Somebody probably no one outside of myself would even care about in this particular context. Bill Gold passed away. He was old. He if you wouldn't know the name, but if you follow movies and art for movies, you would know his work. He did the poster for The Exorcist. which some people, you'd look at that poster and go, well, it's just a guy standing outside of an apartment. But it's an iconic image. Probably one of, I would say amongst our circle, the most iconic one that you would say, oh, he did the original Alien poster, the one with the little egg that's cracking, and it says at the bottom, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ironic because it had all kinds of sound in space in the movie, but, it's Hollywood. And then...
Because Hollywood doesn't make sense.
and he did all kinds of other posters, too, that but those are probably the two that immediately off the top of my head, those two come to mind. And then Ted Dabney, which, again, you probably wouldn't recognize the name, but he was one of the co-founders of Atari.
Now, that's, to me, sad, man, because that was the first true, well, to me, first true gaming system. I mean, sure, there was, if I remember correctly, before Atari, there was ColecoVision, shit like that, but...
Nope. ColecoVision Coleco and Intellivision came out they came out soon after or right around the same time, but Atari was basically the big king of the hill because they got there first.
Son of a bitch, I could have swore it was like a month before Atari was Coleco. Well, there we go. Once again, Stacey was correct.
Well, again, they all came out around the same time, but everybody knew that I think it was either Intellivision or Coleco was technically better, similar to how Sega Master System was technically better than the Nintendo by a marginal degree. But much like Nintendo, Atari did it better. Like, they marketed it better. They made you want to play their games on the Atari.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have an Atari, well, what's wrong with you? And they did it all with one button.
Or you could just be one of the people that bought the adapter to play your Nintendo game on the ColecoVision. Or was it? I think it was the Coleco that had the adapter where you could play 2600 games on it.
I have no idea. I didn't have any of those systems.
Brilliant.
I'm not that old.
Fuck. God damn it. Am I the oldest person here, really? God damn it. Anyway, but yeah, definitely god of his time when it came to gaming. Everybody that we've lost, I guess really we hope you rest in peace if you believe in the other side, that type of stuff. But damn, I can't believe we lost that many people this quickly, and that many important people to me, at least, Ted, very important. John, insanely important, or Total Biscuit, as most people would know him, insanely important as far as I'm concerned. It's sad to think about, it really is.
Yeah. We sometimes we don't miss them until they're gone, and, we don't even know that we will miss them until their impact, in my opinion, the impact of Bill Gold is not going to, like most people aren't going to even realize that his impact being gone means something, until we get generic movie poster after generic movie poster just with a bunch of people's faces on the poster, which is what we've been getting since he stopped doing it.
Sounds about right. Real quick, I do want to say that I know you touched on it earlier, but it's just important to me to remember those who have fallen, whether they fallen in military service or are now former military service and have fallen or have passed on. Remember them. Without them, at least here in the U.S., we wouldn't be able to do this podcast right now, and that's why I'm so incredibly thankful for people who have served. One of my greatest quotes I've ever heard in my entire life was from a buddy of mine, Durbin. He served in Vietnam, and he said, "No, Stace, remember, when you go out for Memorial Day, you thank the veterans who are looking at the daisies from the bottom up, not the top down. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, a lot of people will go out and visit veterans and say thank you to them on Memorial Day. I'm like, well, just memorial. Thank you for. Well, he's like, think about the wording, memorial, Stacy. I'm like, son of a bitch, he's right. So apparently, yeah. I don't know if it's a widespread thing or if it was just Durbin being oversensitive. But vets get a little pissed off when you say, thanks for your service on Memorial Day. Like, we're not dead yet. Come on, guys. But yeah, make sure to go out and say thanks. And when you're out Memorial Day, don't just go get drunk going, memorial for something. It's an excuse to drink. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, for most people, it's just another day off.
Yeah, that to me is sad, but that's just me. I do want to get into some gaming news, though, Casual. This is something you brought up, and this is something that I think is hilarious that it needs to be a story, and it need to be done by Valve, but they're bringing down the ban hammer on a certain type of gaming. Well, game. Yeah, they're technically game. Well, they are. You have to click them, and you can make multiple choices.
I mean, they are, but also sort of. Yeah, I'm sure we've all seen these games that they get the Steam has that tagging system where you can put I don't even know how it works, honestly, where they've got like descriptors in a tag, like this game is open world and this game is puzzle and this game is VR and this game has nudity. Now, of course, for some, that might be an instant, I have to see what this game is. First
guess
of all,
what camp I'm in, folks.
Stacey, put down the bottle.
Most of those games that have that tag, by the way, and in fact, I can't think of any off the top of my head that actually have nudity. Because the games that get onto Steam that have those tags, and we are talking mostly about visual novel games that have the anime and manga images that you would assume, of course, it has nudity. They actually don't. Because to get on Steam has some weird policies regarding sex in games. And I say weird because they won't allow some of these visual novels on, which, okay, whatever. It's their company. Do what you want. But then we have games like The Witcher and what's that other game? That's not on. But there are games that have sex scenes and nudity. Grand Theft Auto 5. Definitely has topless women in the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
But that game isn't getting banned or referenced or anything. It doesn't even have the tag nudity, I don't think. I feel like Steam is being very strangely arbitrary about the games that they are not allowing on Steam. And what they're doing is they're not allowing some at all, and then they're allowing some back on, and then they're banning ones that they've allowed already. Like, I'm just confused by Steam.
I understand. Dude, I just found the greatest, because I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a look. I never bothered using those tag systems. I found the greatest game that was underneath nudity tag. Are you ready for it? Nudist Beach Survival Simulator. You have to beat off the nude people with rocks and sticks.
When he says beat off, he doesn't mean the thing you're thinking.
No. That. Sorry, Robbie. No, you actually have to like pick up a stick and beat the shit out of them to keep the nude people away from you on the beach.
No, I've done that with rocks and sticks before.
God damn it. I'm so confused, but I love it. This is great.
And as a perfect example of how arbitrary and stupid this system apparently is, things like genital jousting are perfectly fine. And that is literally a bunch of dicks doing sexual things and smacking into each other.
Ow.
And yet a game that has sexual content, sure, I won't disagree with that, but there's no actual like sex or nudity. It's all been tamed because they know in order to get on Steam, they can't put, the actual stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lewd content. It's not full on sex.
Right. It's just, ooh, look at what we got in this one. Isn't it titillating? Yes, I
I see
chose
what you
that
did
word
there.
on purpose.
I'm sorry. I'm just entertaining myself now with these tags. I'm looking. I'm going, oh my god! I never knew this existed. This is amazing.
Oh, the sexual innuendo of you saying you're entertaining yourself during this
Shut up,
topic.
Jesus! Ryan, look the other way. Yeah.
Where did the Batman touch you, Ryan?
On now.
I don't know. Okay, in all honesty, though, when it comes to the visual novels with pornography in it or nudity, thoughts, guys, is it really worth banning? Should it be should it be something that people can buy? What do you guys say? I mean,
Maybe we should balance it out so there's more dicks than there is tits.
yeah. Damn it! I want
mean-
a nice hard dick in my visual novel.
Honestly, I think it's a pointless thing because, first of all, if you're going to, so there are versions of these games, by the way, that you can get with the nudity still in place.
Mhm.
And from a business perspective, I think it's kind of silly to. I get why. The reason why is so that Steam can seem to a parent like a place where, oh, don't worry, your kid will be safe here. But really, how many kids are playing on Steam anyway that don't have a parent that is the real PC gamer in the family? And secondly, from a business standpoint, don't you want to put all the things on your system so that people don't go to another source?
Right, dude? Excuse me. You're absolutely right. I think it'd be silly personally to go, well, you know what? We don't want your money. Go to hell. What? Just fuck it, man. Sell the porno games. Fuck it. Just once again, we got to the point of going, okay, we need. We talked about this once before, way back when, about what about a rating system for age rating? Well, the problem is, how do we implement that where somebody's not going to go, of course I'm 18 when they're really 12? Click.
Well, again, it just comes down to if you're letting your kids just go onto Steam and do whatever they want, then that's the parents' problem. That's not Steam's problem. They have ratings on the game.
That's exactly it, dude. That's something I brought up for a while where too many times parents will push it off to going, well, it's this goddamn game's fault that my kid turned out fucked up and does all these. No, it's you as a parent who's fucking failed to stop them from seeing this fucked up shit. Yeah, I mean, buck up. Be a fucking parent. Don't let your child walk all the fuck all over you. Christ's sake, Maybe it's just because the fact I'm on my fourth one. I've done this enough times to know. Okay, don't let your kid do this.
Yeah, pretty much.
But okay, Steam being Steam, they're gonna bow out to the popular idea, I'm sure.
Well, that again, that's what confuses me. Like they're not consistent. It seems arbitrary. They're doing, I don't know what they're doing.
I understand. Talking about things that people didn't ask for, like the ban on porno, which I didn't think people were asking for. Bill and Ted 3. Who the fuck asked for this? And why?
Avid fans of Keanu Reeves.
We want more. Whoa.
The other guy that hasn't been doing anything since Bill and Ted 2.
He's like,
I
I
don't
want
even
money.
remember
Let's
his
make this. I mean, in all honesty, who here thinks it's going to make anything beyond just a couple people getting really stoned to going to the movie theater?
I mean, they may. Would it even have that nostalgia value? Because I mean, maybe it's because I'm British. I don't really have that kind of nostalgia for Bill and Ted as maybe Americans would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's all Americans. Like, okay, if they made it, I'd watch it out of curiosity, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't watch it in the theater.
I could totally see it being one of those Netflix specials, as you call it, where you just like, I'm not going to... I could see a lot of people going, oh, wait until I've already paid for it on Netflix to watch this shit.
Yeah, like I'll wait to see it when it comes out on home video.
Either that or...
Like even if the reviews are like, oh my god, this is so funny. First of all, I don't watch comedies in the movie theater because I don't feel like, for me, the movie theater experience is about the big epic scope movies. So your Marvel movies, your Star Treks, your big action set piece things. That's what I go to the movies for. Comedies,
You did.
I
go
can
to
laugh
see...
just...
Go ahead.
What's that?
I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy. I thought you were done. I apologize.
I was just going to say, I can laugh just as hard at home at a particular movie as I can in a movie theater, and I don't, like, I saw Bridesmaids with a friend when that came out because she wanted to watch it, and I was like, of course, I'm going to see the movie she wants to, but I laughed, but, like, I didn't get that movie experience from it. Like, I didn't care.
I understand. One thing I will say in argument to that, you did go to see Thor 3, and that was just nothing but comedy the entire fucking way.
Yes, but that had big action set pieces and science fiction. It was a funny movie, but it was still a Marvel movie.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time, dude. Yeah.
Also, think about it. I mean, like, comedy's changed quite a bit since the last Bill and Ted movie, especially with the millennial sense of humor now.
Honestly, I could see how this movie could be successful if one of the states where, recreational pot is legal, just open up a movie theater where you let people get stoned inside the theater. This
You
movie...
mean like the same kind of crowd that would enjoy Harold and Kumar? That kind of thing?
Exactly, dude. This movie would sell fucking gangbusters if you let them get stoned in the theater.
Well, I think at this point it's less about the nostalgia for it and more about, like, okay, it's been... So there was talk about a potential Bill and Ted 3, like... Bill and Ted 3 was kind of the same discussion in Hollywood as Ghostbusters 3 was. After Ghostbusters 2 was pretty lackluster at the box office, there was talk of a Ghostbusters 3, but it never ever got to the point where they made it. Like, because of all kinds of reasons. What's his face that played Egon just didn't want to do it at all. They couldn't get a script together. Basically, it was just Dan Aykroyd trying to pitch, various things, and Bill Murray going, I'm past that, and Ivan Reitman saying, if it comes together, sure, I'll do it, and then it never came together, and we got the new Ghostbusters. To some people's disagreement.
Some?
But... I feel like this is the same thing with Bill and Ted 3. Like, we keep getting told, oh, they're making a Bill and Ted 3. But they've been saying that for like 20 years. At this point, I'll believe it when I see it.
Very true. I don't see a market for it. Like I said, beyond the movie theaters where somebody gets really fucked up, and if they would let that happen, I could see it being successful there. Otherwise, I just don't see it working, period. Like, at all. I don't see it any way possible where this could be a success beyond that niche.
Again, if they got the right writer, sure, it could be whatever, but I'm not going to see it in the theater.
I understand, man.
And I love the first movie. I love it. But the second movie's
Ryan, I'm so disappointed. What is this?
I didn't even buy it. I don't know why it's on there.
Was this iTunes?
Maybe.
He shows me his phone. It's like has this ashamed look on his face, as if a dog had just shit on the floor and tried to look ashamed about it. He hands me his phone and says, "Recently purchased movies, Ghostbusters 2016."
And I didn't even buy that. I don't know why it's on there.
I'm so ashamed of you for having that.
Chris Hemsworth is really funny in it.
Oh, Thor was in that movie?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Why would he degrade himself to that level?
Like I said, he was really funny in it.
I mean, he was funny up until the weird dance thing.
Oh, well, yeah, but that was the whole problem with the third act entirely. The third act of that movie is terrible.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think the movie is just a train wreck like some people do. I think it had funny moments that made me laugh, but it wasn't like a laugh a second like a Deadpool movie. And Chris Hemsworth was the best part in the movie, and that's not saying much for the whole movie since it's not supposed to be about him.
It certainly had a lot of points that made me laugh. It just had way more parts that made me sad.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't God, the wounds of that movie have still not healed. I'm not even gonna lie.
Once someone, when I was at work, someone asked if we had the new Ghostbusters in stock. I just looked at them and said, I don't know what you're talking about.
God damn it, Ron. There was a new Ghostbusters? What? Oh, no, I've never heard of this.
I mean, the second one came out some years ago, but if it's new to you, I could look.
By the way, the second movie was a literal retread of the first movie. On a beat for beat. It was just, we're doing the exact same thing. We just have a little bit more money to spend on this one.
I don't necessarily step by step. I could see some repeating themes. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a reprint completely the whole way through, you know?
I like the Statue of Liberty part.
I actually do like Vigo, though. I thought that, one of the problems I think people had with the second movie was that they defeated the end guy so quickly. Well, if you think about it, they kind of defeated the end ghost whatever in the first one quickly once they figured out how to. They blasted crossed the streams and then it was over.
Mm-hmm.
In the second one, they just covered him in slime.
And then it was over.
Well, honestly, I don't think many people, including myself, watch Ghostbusters just for the action or just for the comedy. It was a combination thing. I mean, it was just a wonderful mix because of everything, you know. You watched it because sure they're going to have an action scene at the end where they beat the big bad boss, but it's all about the comedic value that brings it together, plus the drama. It was just a wonderful mix, you know, that made it that good.
Ghostbusters, I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but Ghostbusters is not one of those movies that is repeatable because, like they proved it with Ghostbusters 2. You know, people were like, I can't wait to see it. It's okay. And every time they try and retread the ground, you can't. Because Ghostbusters, this is my opinion, obviously, was so original. Nobody had ever conceived of this concept before. Let's take things that are generally scary and let's turn it into a comedy. and let's have these guys fighting the ghosts but not really knowing what they're doing. And let's, it was a combination of perfect ingredients that came together. It's not the greatest comedy of all time, but it was so original, it gets a step above all the other things in the past and in the future, because it just, you can't do it again.
I understand. It's, I guess at that point it was just Hollywood trying to do what Hollywood does, which is always repeat it. Casual. You are. Oh my God! It called to me. Dark Souls Remastered, which was a sour point for me for a very long time. You actually picked it up. Thoughts?
I'm a sucker.
First off, why would you do that? But what do you think of it?
Sucker. It's prettier.
That's it?
It's literally the exact same game. It's just prettier, and it has an offline mode.
If they were going to remaster it, I guess maybe bringing back, if they cut any bosses or content, bringing that back would have been awesome. Make it so it's not locked at 720 would be awesome. Giving us 60 frames per second would have been awesome. I think it's still locked at 30 FPS, if I remember correctly.
No, it's 60 FPS, 1080p. That's why it's prettier.
1080. Really, I was supposed to say, I just read an article today saying the only thing I got 1080p was the Switch. The PC version was still stuck at 720.
It looks prettier than 720. It looks way prettier than the Prepare to Die edition.
Now,
if it is stuck at 720p, it still looks prettier.
Okay,
but I'm just saying it only looks prettier and has an offline mode. Outside of that, and you can adjust the size of the on-screen stuff, like the HUD.
No new content, no new nothing at
But
all.
yeah, there's nothing new about it. If you've never played the game before, this is a great way to get an entry into it, because it's it's Dark Souls. But if you already have the older version, there's no real reason to get this one. Like I said, the only reason I got it is I'm a sucker. I had to know. Now I know.
Now here's a real question: how does it stack up compared to Die Edition with DS Fix in it? Is it pretty much the same?
Well, let's put it this way: with DS Fix, with the 60 FPS, I never turned on those options because those options had the possibility that you could fall out of the world.
That never happened to me.
The
Really?
game wasn't designed for the 60 FPS. It was built for the Xbox 360, and they did a bad port.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has been built for modern systems. I'm not even sure it was specifically built for the PC, but it was built for modern systems. So it looks prettier, it works, and you don't have to worry about games for Windows Live. Not that anybody has for the last 5 years since that went away.
I was about to say, is Windows Live even still a thing? But yeah, so it's not a thing anymore? Okay, I didn't think so.
No, that went away. They canceled that service pretty much before Windows 10 came out, a few years before Windows 10 came out, and they essentially are trying again with games for Windows or whatever, Win 10 games. I don't know what they're trying to do now.
Jesus.
What the hell was that? What was that, Robbie? Oh, it was nothing, apparently. Do you know what you bastards did, by the way? Do you know what all of you guys did?
No.
Yes, I'm talking about what you brought over. This bastard brought sacrilegion into this house. Something that should never have brought into this house because of you. He brought over Winter Soldier. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
Hey, just be glad. We still got another week before I'm over here long enough for us to watch this, because today we can't.
Oh, I'm going to destroy it.
No, it's going to come back.
It's not going to go back. No, it's not. It's coming back. So he walked in. He's like, hey, Stace, look what I brought. I'm like, oh, damn it. I don't want to deal with that today. But yeah, so I'm going to finally watch The Boy Scout being a Boy Scout. Lucky me.
Watch. You'll come back next week and you'll be like, oh my god, that movie was awesome.
I don't... sure. I know. But sure. I've never been a fan of the Boy Scouts. I don't see me ever really being super excited for it, you know?
Shall we go back to the archives and listen to, hey, Stacy, you should see John Wick?
You know what? At least it was an actor that I've seen before, and I know he was halfway decent. At least it wasn't. At least Woe Boy.
Who?
Keanu Reeves. There we go. I always just call him Woe Boy. At least I know he's an actual decent actor. Where I know Captain America is a Boy Scout, and I've never liked him. So it's like, oh, do I really want to deal with this?
Well, worst comes to worst, you don't have a choice.
I just can't fucking win, can I?
That's not something you want to hear on a date.
You know, God damn it, Casual. You take everything and just destroy it. So, new Spidey coming out, which I didn't know there was a new Spidey coming out anytime. So I knew there was going to be because it's obvious, but...
I was going to say, come on. It's not coming out soon. I don't even think they have it on the schedule
Casual.
yet.
He didn't feel very good. He's gone. How could they be announcing a new Spider-Man movie without spoiling?
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire.
Spoilers, Stacy. Jeez. Maybe there's somebody that hasn't seen Infinity War yet.
I don't feel so good.
My coworker showed me a video of Thanos doing the hand clicky thing, and then it cuts to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Sandman disappearing.
God damn it.
So many memes revolving around that finger snap already. I love the internet.
The Snapture, or the Snappening.
I also hate the internet at the same time. It's a love-hate thing. So obviously they're making another Spider-Man. People are saying, oh, it's got to be set before the finger snap, right? That's because they're idiots. Basically, we don't know what's going to happen to make the universe right in Avengers 4, but it will be made right because there's money to be made off of Black Panther, Spider-Man, and other things. So, the fact that they're making another Spider-Man, people are referring to it as Homecoming 2. I doubt it'll be called Homecoming 2. But this is the second Spider-Man movie, which kind of funny to think about that. And I am both excited and interested in an almost worried way because, Jake Gyllenhaal, if you follow movie stuff, he's going to be the new villain in the movie. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal can play a great villain. If you don't know who Jake Gyllenhaal is, he was the guy in, probably the movie everybody will know is he was one of the two cowboys in Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, Brokeback guy. Okay, yes.
He was also in a movie called Something Sky, where he was basically one of the first NASA scientists.
See, every time I see this guy...
October Sky, thank you.
Every time I see this guy with his beard, I always think he's crazy guy from Transformers.
No, that's Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf, thank you, yes.
And to further help who Jake Gyllenhaal is. He was in Day After Tomorrow, who's the main kid. And he was in, if you want to get a little more niche, he was in Donnie Darko.
He was also in that shitty Prince of Persia movie.
I was going to say, he was also in Prince of Persia. Now, he's a great actor, and I will point to a movie that probably not many people have seen, which is a movie called Nightcrawler, where he plays... he was also in Zodiac, I think. He was one of the cast in Zodiac. I think he was the reporter or something. Anyway, in Nightcrawler, he doesn't technically play a villain per se, but what he plays is a sociopath. And he plays such a good sociopath that he just makes your skin crawl with how he has no respect for humanity at all. He just like because a sociopath, I think it's either psychopath or sociopath. I don't know. The definitions escape me. But one of them, they don't understand human emotions because they don't have emotions properly or a conscience or whatever. And so they either have to fake their way through life, or they usually get drugs or thrown in an insane asylum because they can't work in normal society. And Nightcrawler is about a guy who is that, who becomes a what do you call it? Not a shit, I can't think of the word. Not like a crime scene person or a paparazzi, but you know how in any major accidents or whatever, there's always somebody that is there with a camera first, and the news people get footage from these horrible things that happen somehow.
Mm-hmm. Freelance?
He's one of those people. He's one of these people that literally just listens to police bands and, listens to... Yeah, he's an ambulance chaser, but he's not a lawyer. He's literally just taking a camera, getting footage before somebody kicks him off the site, and then selling that footage to the news sites, to the news people. And he's a sociopath, and there's way more to the story that I won't spoil because it's a really good movie if you're into that. But he's playing... Then this is where it gets worrying to me, or interesting, I don't know. He's playing a character called Mysterio.
I have always wanted to see Mysterio in a movie. He's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains.
Mm-hmm. I will let Robbie explain why I'm worried / interested about Mysterio.
Well, I don't know why you're fucking worried. I'm
well,
excited.
I'm just saying, explain Mysterio to the people.
He's basically... I forget if he was a stage actor, but he uses illusions and trickery. He's kind of I think he was he a stage actor or a stage magician?
He was in... Well, there's a few different versions of him, but he was the most modern-ish version. He's a special effects artist.
Yeah. But yeah, he uses illusions to trick and ensnare Spider-Man, and is even able to get around his spider sense occasionally. And he wears a bit giant fishbowl on his head, which is funny.
Okay, in the comics, it kind of works, because you can do all kinds of crazy costumes and whatever you want in the comics. But that's why I'm interested / worried the most, because I keep thinking, are they gonna do the fishbowl?
I want them to do the fishbowl.
I do too, but at the same time, like, will people accept that? I don't know. It's an interesting choice, and I'm glad they're doing it, because I agree with Robbie. This is one of those villains that has been in Spider-Man's villain rogues gallery for decades and keeps coming back, and writers do a good job with him in the comics. but he's never been in the movies because how do you do Mysterio in the movies? Like, they always go to Green Goblin and Doc Ock. You know, it's like putting Joker in a Batman movie. Of course it's Joker again.
I did do something, I don't know if this is true or not, that Doctor Strange is going to play a similar role that Tony Stark did, because it's Mysterio as the villain.
Ooh, that could be neat.
Which
Yeah,
Doctor Strange would probably show up and be like, "Ha, you're an illusionist. I'll show you real magic."
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I have faith in Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor that he can pull whatever they're going to do off, but it's like when they put Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. It was an out-of-the-box decision that really worked, and I hope that that's what happens with this one.
I just hope Jake Gyllenhaal's not one of those actors that's like, no, I want them to see my face. And then they have to change up the character design to fit his wants. I just fucking hate when people do that.
Yeah.
Well, which is one of my biggest issues I had with every fucking Batman to ever come out. I mean, with Batfleck, I actually had faith. I was like, oh, sweet, he's covering up his face. Never mind, they broke up his face for the Superman fight. God damn it.
Which is why I liked what they did in the MCU, and maybe they could do something similar with Iron Man. We still see Robert Downey Jr.'s face a lot, but it's that green screen holographic HUD thing, you know? So maybe they could do something similar where we see inside the fishbowl. I don't know.
Maybe, I mean, like, I always see Mysterio as being like obviously, for the pun of the name, very mysterious character. I feel like the fishbowl should be full of kind of smoke and maybe a vague shape of a face, or maybe even like
that's what I always thought it was in the comics, because the fishbowl, like, the costume is really, really gaudy. I don't know if we're still doing image links or anything on the YouTube, but it is. Google Mysterio and go to images, because
big ass purple cape.
Yeah, it is like one of the weirdest looking things you can possibly like imagine. I don't even know how to explain it. It was a child of its time.
Yeah, I think they'll probably do a modern redesign like they did with the Vulture. Like the comics Vulture doesn't work on as a movie, like an old man with wings.
Right.
Work.
Yeah. Which he is coming back too. I don't know what role he's going to play, but Michael Keaton is returning in some form. That they've already announced that, so that's kind of cool.
I think it would be cool if, now that they've proven they can, well, obviously they've proven before, but that they can do multiple characters in a single movie, they may try to tackle a Sinister Six movie again.
Ooh.
Well, I feel like they are setting that up. Like, they've already introduced the character who is the Scorpion, if you're a nerd who knows that stuff. They've introduced the Vulture, obviously.
They've got the Shocker in there.
In my opinion...
Shocker, sorry.
They have the bones for an interesting storyline with the Sinister Six, but I don't know what they would plan to do. Because here's the thing people don't realize. Sony is making all the monies off of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
The reason that they're a part of the MCU is because of deals that were made so that they could be a part of the MCU. But every time a solo Spider-Man movie is made, it's Sony getting the money. But it's Disney writing it and like handling basically Disney's handling the heavy lifting, Sony's paying the bills and getting the money.
Okay.
And then because of that deal, Disney gets to continue to use Spider-Man in things like the Avengers and whatever other stories they want to use him in, that they get the money off of it. So it's a weird deal. I don't know, I don't know the full thing. I don't think anybody will ever know the full story, but yeah.
Oh,
Excited.
yeah, I was about to say, it seems like everybody's really excited for it. I mean, Mysterio, it'll be fun, It will be.
It'll be fun to see Stacey go.
Well, I mean, I grew up loving Mysterio because of the cartoon, though. That's the biggest difference for me, I guess. And I know a lot of people.
Oh, was he in the cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you know what I'm talking about when I say I'm a little bit worried, but interested.
I mean, everybody scoffed at me when I was worried about Joker when it came to The Dark Knight, and they still scoff at me because I'm an asshole, apparently. But all jokes aside, yeah, I can understand why you're worried. I completely understand. It's one of those characters you grew up on, you loved, and you don't want to see get shit on.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's just like, okay. So had they done, and obviously they aren't gonna just do what's in the comics because they understand it's a different medium, and so they've done things like, for instance, the way they did the Vulture costume in Spider-Man: Homecoming. You got the hint of the feathers around his neck from the fur of the leather jacket that he was wearing.
I thought that was,
and that was awesome.
Touch. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's when I saw it. I was like, oh, it's a bomber jacket. That actually meant, like, he's a flight guy. He's got the bomber jacket. It's got that's cool, Or like most of you probably haven't seen it, but Luke Cage. They obviously were not going to do his gold bands and the ridiculous costume from the 60s. But they incorporated it into the series in a brief moment where the bands were actually like some kind of control mechanism while he was being turned into what he was, being experimented on. And he literally looks into a mirror or something and says, oh no, this has to go. There are times when and that's what I like about what they've been doing, is there are times you can do that, but sometimes there are times you can't. Like, for instance, they didn't even allude once to the old costume for Iron Fist. Now, you could argue that's because Iron Fist sucked anyway. But I don't think you can do any variant of the original Iron Fist costume. And I feel like with Mysterio, as much as I want the fishbowl, how do you do it? Like I feel like in live action, it's going to be hard.
I understand what you mean there. We'll see what Hollywood's magic is for it. You know what I mean? They always do everything right, correct? Don't they, Casual? They do everything perfect, don't they?
Always. I've never been disappointed by any movies that has ever come out of Hollywood.
I don't know, man. I don't really care for the current version of Deadpool. I like the old version better.
I swear to Christ. Listen, he was wiped from the timeline. He went back and wiped him on a timeline that doesn't exist anymore.
That spoilers, that was hilarious, by the way. I like that when... Okay, super duper spoilers. My favorite part was when he kills Ryan Reynolds for even looking at the Green Lantern script.
Right, dude. I was like, that's priceless.
And then says, "You're welcome, Canada."
As if we realize how much of a disrespect this was. You're welcome, fuckers.
Oh, that was the best part. Like how do you anyway. Oh, speaking of, somebody mentioned, I was listening, because that's where I get all my news from. I was listening to somebody talk about what they could potentially do with Mysterio, and because he's a special effects guy and these are movies, they could potentially do some meta narrative stuff with Mysterio in a movie.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're saying like he would be in a fight with Spider-Man and he'd basically make it, like a cookie cutter trailer for any movie these days?
I don't know how they would handle it if they did that, but I think it would honestly be an interesting, an interesting way to deal with a special effects character in a visual effects world. If you don't know the difference, I'm not going to explain it. Look it up.
Listen here, you bastards. This isn't my job.
It comes down to visual effects are on a computer. Special effects are live, real explosions that they do that require all kinds of safety measures and stuff, basically.
Oh, by the way, another Deadpool spoiler, but fans, I wanted to say this for the last few weeks now, but fans were actually right about something they speculated based on one short, tiny frame.
The Juggernaut one?
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the world we live in now. Is a trailer gets overanalyzed to the point where almost every theory is going to be out there, and at least some of them are going to be true.
Yeah.
Now,
there's no surprise anymore.
Please excuse me for my ignorance, but I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
There was a single frame of the trailer for Deadpool 2 where I think it's Deadpool's hand or somebody's hand.
It's Colossus.
Okay.
Colossus is punching something that people initially thought was a wrecking ball.
Yeah, it was a slightly round thing, and it sort of had some welded points on it, barely in frame, a little bit out of focus, and the big buzz was, "Oh, that's got to be Juggernaut's helmet," and it was. Good job, Internet.
Good job, Internet, you bastards.
Now,
I like what you mean.
Good job, Internet. Pat you on the head. Now go sit in the corner.
Casual, I like what you mean by there's a theory out there for everything, and at least some of them are going to be right. I watched this cartoon where a theory that had been in place since season 1 turned out to be correct, and I have to wonder if the theory was correct or if the creators of the show just went along with the theory.
And that's kind of the problem with the modern internet, dissemination of we have to overanalyze everything. Like, it used to be that a trailer would come out for a movie and everybody would go, "Oh, that's awesome, I'm going to go see that movie." Now it's a trailer comes out for a movie and they take it frame by frame, pixel by pixel, and they overanalyze it to the point where they've spoiled the entire movie before it comes out. Yeah. And for a series, people do that too, and it's like, okay, well, as a creator of a series, I was watching an interview with, I think it was the creators of like The Walking Dead, which is one of those series everybody overanalyzes everything about that series. And the creators basically said that generally speaking, we don't pay attention to whatever people are rumoring on our show, but every once in a while we have to, because so many people are disappointed when a thing might happen that if we don't change it, then the ratings could go down. So
really,
yes, public can have an effect in that way, which is in some ways kind of disappointing, but in other ways, has it made some of our more favorite shows better? I don't know.
I mean, an extension of that is the whole like shipping thing, which is just a dumpster fire in
Jesus
itself.
Christ! Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
Because Fitzsimmons. That's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference.
Oh, okay. I just don't get the whole shipping. Like, oh, this person will totally fuck this one. Why would we care?
It's because like people like to create fan fiction about every character.
It's this, yeah, and it's the same reason that soap operas have been popular for the last forever.
Yeah, and God forbid if a voice actor says, "Oh, I prefer this shipping over this shipping," because they get bombarded by fans.
Really? That's really?
Oh yeah, fans that ship certain characters when it doesn't happen. Oh, for fear that you have not done the shipping that they wanted.
Fandoms in the internet are a scary place sometimes.
Yeah.
I give up on humans. I have no words, my friend.
That is the right course of action, by the way. Just give up.
Give up on humans and walk away.
Who does have words? Casual does. About a certain Star Wars movie?
Are we at that point?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
God, you did so you've seen it then.
I did see it.
In case anybody's wondering what we're talking about, have no idea we're talking about Solo.
Yes. And for those that are like, I haven't even seen it yet, by the time this podcast goes live, I think it'll probably be a couple weeks since it's been out. But if you haven't seen it, we're going to spoil it. But don't worry, this is pretty much the end of the podcast anyway. First of all, non-spoilers, I enjoyed it. It was a Star Wars thing. It had Star Wars-y things in it. If you go to movies to enjoy that thing that you like, I feel like you'll probably like this one.
Okay.
It was, but much like Rogue One was a different version of the Star Wars we all knew and loved from the originals or even the prequels, in that it actually had wars in it.
Mm-hmm.
This one is different. It is a different variant of Star Wars. For example, there is no. Well, okay. Let's just go ahead and say spoilers right now and get it out of the way. There is no Jedi in this movie.
Really?
Until the end.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised actually.
Okay, so before I get into spoilers about the end, in fact, I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll see if you watch it. There is technically a Jedi thing in it, but the meat of the movie is just about smugglers and pirates and scoundrels and that side of the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
It's guys with blasters that are backstabbing each other and being the kinds of people you would expect Han Solo to hang out with before he got involved in the rebellion.
Speaking of smuggling, don't forget to use your prison pocket.
God damn it. I got
Thank
it in
you,
my
Robbie.
prison pocket. Oh, God, no.
But yeah, overall, it was a good movie. I have issues with it, but nothing that like okay. So let's talk about who Han Solo is in the movies that we know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Han Solo is the scoundrel. Han Solo is the guy who eventually gets with Princess Leia. Han Solo is the guy that when the woman says, I love you, he says, I know. Hilarious to this day.
God, he's such a prick. I love it.
He is. And they don't veer too much away from that in this. There's a little bit of, oh, he's a good guy deep down stuff thrown in. But it's not so much that you're like, oh, this is getting annoying. But what I will say is there's a couple moments in the movie, and I am going to spoil them, because I can't talk about this movie without mentioning them, where you're kind of like, did we need that? Okay, for example, Lando Calrissian.
Mm-hmm.
What we know about Lando is that he's a suave guy, and he wore a cape once in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
in this movie, because of some weird fan nostalgia, recollection, remembrance that is wrong, everybody seems to be focused on the cape. So in this movie, he has literally a closet full of capes. He wore one in The Empire Strikes Back, people. One. Anyway.
Did Han steal all of his capes when he stole his Millennium Falcon?
God damn it.
Han didn't steal the Millennium Falcon.
He won it.
I'm not gonna.
I
I am not gonna go into what happens, but I will say that the entire events surrounding the Millennium Falcon coming into Han's possession were kind of like, yeah, this is pretty typical. We kind of already knew this just from the short conversation they had in Empire. So it's fine, but I feel like it could have been done a little bit differently. But I won't spoil that because, you know, you'll see the Millennium Falcon before it was a piece of junk.
It was never a piece of junk. It was just a little rickety. Come on.
Just slightly to the left.
I will say that was one of those weird little stupid issues I had was when they turned it into a piece of junk. It was like, okay, does everybody here remember the line in the first movie where Obi-Wan says about Darth Vader, or maybe it was the second movie, I don't know, he is more machine now than man.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Revenge of the Sith, we saw how that happened. In one shot, Obi-Wan literally cut off 3 of his limbs, and one was already cybernetic.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's more machine than man. Oh. Kind of the same thing happens with the Millennium Falcon. In one scene, it goes from pristine to being a piece of junk.
Oh.
It's kind of disappointing. But it is what it is. The other thing that people remember and nerds climbed all over it back in the day was the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Okay. We know that a parsec, for those that are nerdy enough, is a measurement unit, not of distance, not of time. I'm not going to spoil how they handle it in this movie, but it's one of those things like, yeah, okay. Did we need it explained? No. George Lucas just didn't know what a parsec was. It was something that sounded spacey to him back in 1977. He didn't care enough to do the research. Fans have been all over it ever since. So, for those that give a shit, this movie covered why 12 parsecs was
legit? Really?
Yeah.
Well, at least they covered it, I guess. I don't know.
Again, did we need it? No.
It wasn't. It's not necessary because part of Star Wars is, he did. Yeah, Han Solo is so fast. He did a thing in a measurement of distance.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, it is explained. Let's see, what else? Oh, okay. So this one actually kind of pissed me off a little bit. So in the special editions of the original trilogy, there's a scene where Greedo gets a blaster shot off before Han shoots him. Now, this has turned into the meme, Han shot first. Well, no, Han didn't shoot first. He was the only one that shot, but that's a whole semantics issue.
Mm-hmm.
This movie has a scene where Han is the only one that shoots. And it's great because we get to see that original Han Solo we know and love that was the only one that shot because he's that much of a scoundrel.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the scene for me felt like an apology to fans for the special editions.
Really?
How about you just give us back the original versions where Han was the only one that shot instead of making an apology in a side story? You know, it just felt like we know Han's supposed to be this super badass that shoots first. Well, here's a scene where he shoots first in his own movie. Well, okay, but Why not just anyway? So there was that. Now these are the minor problems I had with the movie. Overall, it was a good movie.
Okay.
It had a cohesive story. The editing was well done. Ron Howard's brother was in it. If you don't know, Ron Howard's brother is in every movie that Ron Howard makes.
Come on, bro. Let's go make a movie.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a perfectly acceptable Star Wars movie that I accept is a part of the Star Wars universe, and it did not make me go, what a piece of crap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was better than the prequels, but that's not saying much because almost anything is better than the prequels. Though I will also say that the prequels have their good moments, and we've gone over those before. So, but the end. So here's the inherent problem I have with both Rogue One and this. At the end of Rogue One, spoilers, everyone dies. Literally. All the good guys die, all the bad guys die, all the guys that are in between good and bad die. Mm-hmm. So there's nowhere for any characters to get any more story unless they do a prequel of a story that is essentially a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
This story kind of has that same problem. Because without spoiling the actual things that are going on in the story, and for the record, what it is a train job followed by lots of double crossing because they're all pirates and smugglers.
They really
but at
doubled
the end
down
of it,
the whole fucking pirate thing, didn't they?
Yes, they do. At the end of it, they basically set up where the timeline is by the end of it, and it's pretty much leading right up to A New Hope, just like Rogue One did.
Okay.
So there's nowhere for this story to go.
Okay, I was hoping that they wouldn't. There'd be a bit more of a gap between the end of the movie and A New Hope. It just leads straight right into it.
Well, it's not quite okay. It's not quite as direct as Rogue One was. Like Rogue One literally ends with the beginning of A New Hope. This one basically, one of the characters. More spoilers. One of the characters says, "I heard about a job in Tatooine with a gangster." So, what we know of Han Solo's backstory from what they mentioned is that whatever job he did for Jabba went south. He had to dump the cargo, and now he's got a price on his head. Now, that is literally the only place that they can take the next story if they go forward, because that's it. He takes whatever this job is, it goes south, he dumps the cargo, and then we get to A New Hope. But that's honestly, again, kind of like Rogue One, do we need to know how they got the plans to the Death Star? Not really. If they make that movie, would I see it? Based on this one and Rogue One? Yeah, because they were both good movies. But there's not very much more to tell.
Okay. So, Star Wars, you pretty much wrapped it up. Kill it, damn it! No, I'm joking, obviously. All right, so I think, guys, we got about to the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody who listened in. And also, guys, thank you much for swinging in and doing the podcast with us today. It was great having you. Go ahead.
I'm contractually obligated.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to leave, damn it! Thank you so much for being here. I've been Stacey Kruger. Who have you boys been?
I'm Ryan, and Chris Hansen's still outside. He hasn't left.
Chris Hansen's still outside.
You can leave now!
I'm Robbie, and after 3 weeks of On the Run, they've managed to recapture me back here.
The cover story about his tooth hurting, just a cover story, that's all.
I'll get out again, I swear.
That's what they all say.
I am legally bound to say my name is Rad Hazard.
And I'm casually challenged who didn't pick up on the cue that it was my turn.
Thank you so much for being here, guys. We love each and every one of you. We'll catch you next time.